Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Fernell. Here to entertain and we will help you live well. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are welcome in the essence. This broadcast, Brownstone, the light is, but you need go on and receive it for yourself. Just open it, exuberant, evolution, excited. We standing on the foundation of expression. You might have seen, you might have been, or you could have gravitated. Our foundation, we wanna create a space for all to collaborate and be liberated from the globe. And we are extending a hand to those who are an extension from maybe platforms. Dig into another stratosphere. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Breakfast with Berner, here to entertain, and we will help you live well. And that is MSG, the message in the message. I can OD on my execution. This as a man right now, and things aren't created.
All right, welcome. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Brownstone. This is the night shift. I'm Paulette, and I'm a part of Brownstone Worldwide at brownstoneworldwide.com, Cityscape Radio, and you guessed it, Brownstone Living Magazine. If you are new here, you are officially a neighbor. Welcome to the neighborhood, which is one of our songs. Welcome to the neighborhood. If you check out any of our intros for news and information, what we are here tonight to talk about are the things that matter to you. We're going to be covering news. That's first. We're also going to be covering what happened in MacArthur Park today. We're going to be covering what happened in Temple, Texas today. And we're definitely going to be covering some of the standard news. But tonight, what we're definitely going to be doing is something I said that we were going to start doing after we found out about this big, beautiful bill. We're going to start breaking down who these people are that voted for it. But not only that, I'm not only talking about Republicans, I'm also talking about the Democrats as well. Why is this important? Because the midterms are coming up, folks, and we definitely need to know who is who. Why is that important? So you can make better decisions on where your vote is going to go. Because what we have learned over the past 6 months, ultimately, and literally for the past couple of years, if you haven't been paying attention, you may have noticed that they're kind of doing what they want to do. They don't hear us anymore. And some of that is, I've said it before, I'll say it again, a lot of this is because we've gotten a little sleepy. We just look for the names we remember and we just revote those folks in. And that's an issue. Hey, Subu, how are you? Hey, Tishan, how are you? Welcome, Anthony. And Rudolph, and user 178-215-06243. Yes, hello, how are you? So we're going to be going over that today. So let's just jump right into the news and information that you can use for the evening so that you can go about your night, or you can just, here's what I encourage you to do. Hey, Angie T, how are you? Welcome, girl. How you doing? Hey, Lynn, welcome. We're covering a couple of things. The first thing that I want you to do is, if you're cooking, if you're relaxing, you're chilling or whatever, you're just scrolling, go ahead and just put me off to the side. We're going to be doing some talking. If you want to be a part of the conversation, absolutely. Okay, so the first thing we want to talk about is what is happening, or what happened today. Green, y'all. Military Green actually went through MacArthur Park. Let's talk about that. And people who were on the ground literally said that they came with horses. I've seen the videos. They came with horses. Not only did they come with horses, they came with armored vehicles, carrying rifles, and they were also in tactical gear in the middle of what is the heart of immigrant Los Angeles. Okay. Now, there were a few of those, their supposed targets to be found on Monday. Immigrants without documentation is what they were looking for. Thank you so much for that, Angie T. I appreciate you. Now, Sunday, rumors had spread about an operation in the park. Okay, flyers were plastered around the area, according to news sources, warning that Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or La Migra, as they are known, as were on their way. Okay, now it's unclear if anyone was arrested during the sweep. What they're saying is we don't comment on ongoing enforcement operations, according to a senior Department of Homeland Security official when asked for comment on whether any arrests were made. It is outrageous and it is un-American that we have federal armed vehicles in our park. Now, that's what Mayor Karen Bass said at an impromptu press conference at City Hall after federal authorities cleared out. What happened to the criminals? What happened to the drug dealers, the violent individuals who were in the park today were children, she said. It was their summer camp, their summer day camp. Okay, now the park sits in the heart of a dense immigrant community marked by poverty and a thriving street culture. That means there are vendors that are lining the streets and palm trees dotted the park, filled with playgrounds and fields, places for people to kind of cool off and get out of the hot air, where many of the families living in nearby apartments literally were finding refuge during the summer. But it has also become known for prevalent drug use, where people are frequently seen smoking out of pipes on the sidewalk and in nearby alleys, though the city has made a positive concerted effort to turn that around. Now, MacArthur Park is also known as the Ellis Island of the West Coast. Thank you so much for that, Stephanie. It was chosen as this administration's latest target precisely because of who lives there, and it represents resilience, diversity, and the American dream. That's according to a city council member, Eunice Hernandez, who represents the area itself. She said the National Guard descended on the park alongside agents bringing military weapons. She said, please understand that what's happening here in the city of Los Angeles, we are the canary in the coal mine. What you see happening in MacArthur Park is coming to you. So wake up. Monday's sweep, which was today, is days after. Pay attention to this, folks. Pay attention. Monday's sweep comes days after President Trump signed a budget bill that will provide a mass infusion of funds to drastically ramp up immigration. And I hope that many of you all are aware of what this bill entails in it, okay? It's going to ramp up immigration enforcement and detention levels around the country. Los Angeles has become the poster child for Trump's mass deportation, and his plan overall is more than 1,600 people have been arrested between June 6th and the 22nd. Now, let me just stop right there. And I want you guys to understand something else as well. What you guys may not know, and I've literally, what I literally want to be able to focus on right now before we go and talk about Texas Blue Eyes. Here's what we do is we talk about a lot of things because all things need to be discussed, okay? We're definitely going to cover that. But if you don't think that what I'm talking about is privy enough for you to hold on to for now, you can leave, stage left. I'm good with that. Okay, go ahead, or you can go ahead and start your own live. How about that? All right. Hey, Christine Lewis, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Yes, in particular, ICE. Thank you, Angie T, for that. So there's no plan other than fear, chaos, and politics. Home Depot one day, the car wash the next, and of course, armed vehicles and what looked like mounted military units in a park the next day. And when you see the video coming through, almost as if it's a movie scene, and I thought, this is really happening in the US of A, like right now. And I absolutely do not understand what is happening. But then we do understand, because when the big beautiful bill passed, which I really just don't like the name, but when that bill passed, it literally gave more money to fund this particular effort. Okay. And so herein lies, they haven't even really got started. No doubt funds have not been allocated, but this is giving them the opportunity to go full force and go in. Now, the agents appeared around 10:30 this morning after amassing at nearby locations. Once they were at the park, they were met with crowds of people screaming, "Get the F out, get out, get out." Bass showed up at the park, and that's the mayor, after being alerted about some kind of military or immigration operation that was being held. Now, while at the park today, Assistant Chief Border Patrol Agent David Kim handed his cell phone to Bass to speak with U.S. Border Patrol Sector Chief Greg Bovino, who has been leading enforcement efforts on the ground in Los Angeles. Bass could be heard saying on the live news feeds, "You're getting ready to leave? Can you leave ASAP?" Demonstrators began to chant, drowning out her conversation. Bass handed the phone back to Kim. When asked to comment at the park, she said the federal immigration agents needed to, quote, leave, and they need to leave right now. You can see this conversation actually anywhere, literally on social media and all online, right? She's covering herself. You can tell she's absolutely furious in what is happening right now. And the only thing that she wants, thank you so much for that, Brittany. The only thing that she wants them to do is leave. Okay. They need to leave because this is unacceptable. When asked who she was talking to on the other end, she said it was the head of customs. And then she left shortly afterward in a black SUV. Activists who have been on high alert for weeks appear to be prepared to deploy lawyers to the scene, which is amazing. Are you following what's happening? People are aware of what's happening. They're already prepared. Flyers have been put out in English and in Spanish and were posted around the park warning that ICE would be raiding the park July 7th. Ron Gochez, a member of the Union del Barrio, an independent political organization advocating for immigrant rights and social justice, said there were people at the Home Depot in Westlake who spotted the agents headed toward MacArthur Park. Soon after, they posted about the deployment on social media to alert community members, and said Gochez said word had started to spread about the operation. I'm sorry, what was that? Have you people are all arrested for interfering in the lawful act? That is not a lawful act. I'm sorry. That is not a lawful act. Let's talk about that really quick because I need to back up just a little bit. And I don't know if you're a bot or whatever, it really doesn't matter. Let's bring this to the forefront right now. It is not a lawful act. You do not unlawfully pick up and detain people without due process. You don't do that. But that's what's been happening. And everybody seems to be okay with it. Well, I'm not. And it's a whole lot of people that are just like me. It is not lawful. And for the love of goodness gracious, I wish people would stop saying that it is lawful. Because if I had to, I'll go and I'll read directly from the United States Constitution. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how the block is hot. The block is hot right now. I don't have no problem with that. You go ahead and do what you need to do. Okay? Do that. And I don't mind people coming in here and sharing their thoughts, but what we're not going to do is come in here and start an argument with the person who has the live. We don't do that. Okay? That's not what we're going to do. What we're going to do is we're going to continue to provide facts. These are facts. I am actually taking this information from several different news sources and I've compiled it, period. We are going to stick with the facts. I am not in my feelings, but the first thing that I will do is let you know, like Lil Wayne said, baby, the block is hot. And I do not have a problem cutting you loose. If you want to go ahead and have your own live, by all means, turn on and hit live. All right, now let's get back into it. Soon after, they posted about the deployment on social media to alert community members. And Gochez said word had started to spread about the operation yesterday. Thank you so much for that, Robin. Okay. So what this was one big, huge publicity stunt. That's what they said, Gochez said, in a call from the park Monday morning. And it was just a show of force. And it was just to take pictures. Just like, you notice some of the people who are a part of Homeland Security who want to go ahead and get their makeup done and carry guns. You don't even know how to hold them. So therein lies that. So the chaos on Wilshire Boulevard around MacArthur Park had almost mostly calmed by 11:30, though a few protesters and members of the news media actually lingered afterward to provide and to gather new and updated information as they probably could. And so Makima Namir said she was out on her morning walk at about 11 a.m. when he saw two women running down the street yelling that La Migra was at MacArthur Park. So he joined the group of protesters who chased and yelled after the military-style trucks. At one point, he said someone from the truck shot out an irritant toward him and another protester. And they basically said, LA is ours. This is our city. This is what my morning walk turned into. They're terrorizing our neighborhood. He did, Brittany. He did. So Obama did deport a lot. And as a matter of fact, if you check out the data, he actually deported to date more than Biden or Trump in Trump's previous administration. Yeah. So it wasn't that he didn't stick to what he said he was going to do. And I actually just read up on that, kind of back up what you're talking about. He said that they were going to be focusing on those who were criminals and who were repeat offenders who kept coming across the border. We deport them, they come right back. We deport them, they come right back. So if you get caught, we're coming after you. He didn't go after people who were law-abiding citizens. He didn't go after children. He didn't go after babies in foster care. He didn't go after people who had their visas or their legal documents and they were doing everything that they were supposed to do by just going to court and showing up while they were going through the legalization process. Okay. And we have a bigger issue here in terms of when we're talking about undocumented immigrants. You know what that is? The biggest issue that we have is no one is talking about immigration reform. All we want to do is round people up and put them in places like concentration camps or whatever else you all want to call them. And we want to make sure that these people, when I say we, I'm talking about taxpayers, because our tax dollars is paying for this. Okay. Exactly. Yes, he was. Correct, Brittany. Correct. Yep. He was screaming about the border and the wall, all while Obama was deporting people. But he had rules like this is what we're gonna follow. We're gonna follow it this way, and that. Not just picking people up. Like I've seen images and video. I mean, I talked about this morning on my morning live, and I've seen video of entire streets where people had vendors out and people were living their lives and so forth, and ultimately just people were gone like the rapture had come through. I thought I was watching a rapture movie. You ever seen those? Yeah. And so it's really, really interesting to me how, basically. And so the thing that is most disconcerting about all of this is the fact that they continue to keep, yes, it does, Teresa, it does. It does call for ethnic cleansing. And so, hey, Deborah, how are you? Hey, Cree, welcome to the Brownstone. For those of you all who are new here, this is the night shift. And it's something new that I'm actually just kind of basically trying out, but I want to thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me. I've done the night shift before, but it looks like I need to do a wrap up of the day because so much happens between that morning show that I do and the evening show. So I'm probably going to start doing these on a regular basis. Now, one of the things that we're talking about tonight is what happened in Los Angeles today. And I got a bunch of information. I was going to do like a quick short video about it. And I thought, nah, let me just go ahead and we're going to talk about it because what we're seeing is a nightmare that is just beginning because they've been given more money. And guess what, y'all? I'm sure that since it was just signed, this big, beautiful bill was signed over on Friday, the money hasn't been allocated. Exactly. So that's another question. What does that mean for other people? Now, this morning, we had a couple of people who were here, Native Americans who came in and talked with us and explained that this was literally happening on their reservations. And they've actually had to get their police to stop ICE from coming in and saying that their identification cards are not good enough. What are we saying to these people? First, we take their land, and then you tell them that they don't belong here, and you just gonna lock folks up and just take them anywhere you want to. I mean, this makes sense to me, and it absolutely does not. So, basically, Fernando Rodriguez runs a small shop selling everyday household goods and snacks across the street from MacArthur Park. Said he quickly dragged in his cooler full of drinks and ice and shut the metal gate of his store when agents showed up. And he said it's really sad. The nightmare is just beginning. People quickly scattered. Businesses already down, but he only expects it to get worse. And the reason why is because people are afraid to come outside now. Would you want to go outside and you living like that? Like, what are we doing? What's really happening? And people are really concerned, as well they should be. People don't want to go to the grocery store. People don't want to go out and do things with their families anymore. Hey, Daffers, how are you? Excuse me. So a lot of people are really laying low. And it's giving World War, it's giving locked up, it's giving World War II, it's giving all the things that I really want to say. And I have to be careful because they restricted me earlier because I was speaking my mind. And I want to make sure that we get this information. Thank you so much, Daffers, for that. I want to make sure that we get this information. So we're gonna so big shout out to the mayor of Los Angeles for sticking up for folks and saying, no, you need to get out. Bovino, who is based near the U.S.-Mexico border, along with others in the Trump administration, was sued last week by immigrant rights groups seeking to block what it calls a, quote, ongoing pattern and practice of flouting the Constitution and federal law. They're not following the Constitution. It's unconstitutional what they're doing. But here, let me stop right here. I was researching for this particular evening, for tonight, and I saw a masked individual. Some of you all may actually have seen this, who went before a city council and was basically telling them they're paying us $1,000 to $1,500 a head to bring in a body. And every human has a price on it. Out of his mouth, he said, and I'm not going to stop doing it. Are you going to stop me? Not only that, but they are also paying people to be at Alligator Alcatraz over in the Florida Everglades. They're paying security guards $3,200 per week to be out there. Sounds like they believe everything has a price, right? We're talking about modern day slavery. We're talking about modern day concentration camps. That's what we're looking at right now. And we can call it what we want to, but I know what I'm reading and what I'm watching and the videos that are being shared live and in real time. And we're it together. And the problem is it's not the law. That's the problem. It's what a group of people, hi, Carol, it's what a group of people who believe one group of people need to be locked up or put away need to follow. And they've made it everybody else's problem. And I 100% agree with you. They need to change the laws and protect people. But guess what? It's called due process. And none of the people that have been picked up have had their due process. But we're not North Korea, or are we? I didn't think that we were, right? So let's talk about that. Because I need people, whenever we come here and I have people that come in and do this, the one thing that we want to do, we want to make sure that we understand what due process is. I know they are, Lap Man. I understand what you're saying. So let's talk about due process and what it is. So due process is a part of the 14th Amendment. And they dismantled the court's powers to support and uphold habeas corpus. Correct, they have. All right, so let's talk about the due process clause of the 14th Amendment. Is exactly like a similar provision in the 5th Amendment as well. So it is the same. It's in the 5th and it's in the 14th Amendment. It states that no person, not legal Americans, not born in this country, no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Without due process of law. Okay? We're talking about fair procedures. Okay? So when we're talking about this, we're also saying that these people are being, they are basically being found guilty. But you're not Mirandizing anybody. You're not giving them due process. And you know why you can't Miranda? because they haven't been committed of a crime. You're just rounding up people that look a certain way. It's absolutely orchestrated, Subu. Yep. So I want to make sure that we understand that none of these people have been provided due process at all. And that's unfortunate. Okay. They need to understand what it is that they did. They need to understand what laws they may have broken. They need to understand that. And when you are not giving due process, you're taking their rights away, whether they were born here or not. It does not say American citizen. It says any person. And that's where we get misconstrued, especially as people who were born here. We need to understand that anybody that is on this land, that is absolutely untrue. Previous administrations have done the same. They have not. Okay. Hey, Coco Dreams, thank you so much for joining the evening. All right. So there you go. The solution is to follow the Constitution, and what they're all doing is unconstitutional. And here's the problem and the issue. Because all branches of the current government are complicit right now, who's going to stop them? They doing what they want to do with your tax dollars. Right? Let's be clear on one thing. Hey there. Hey, Posha. Hey, Karen, how are you? Hey, Quinn, welcome, welcome. Hey, Cassandra Boyd and Shoni Williams. One of the things that you absolutely need to understand is everything takes time. But the way that these folks are moving, they don't care who they hurt. They don't care who they are mowing down. They do not care. They're just rocking, rolling right through it. And no one is stopping them. No one. Now, we can sit here and we can say, well, what do we do? Or we can say, this is what we're going to do. They absolutely can, Subu. But here's the thing. And let's talk about that. But they're spent exactly. That's my point. Thank you so much for that. We talked about this here on our day shift show. And let's briefly just discuss that just for a little bit. They could provide legal pathways. There are legal pathways. But y'all, it is so expensive and it is so difficult. If you are not seeking asylum, if you are not here on a visa or green card, you didn't marry somebody or whatever, and clearly now that don't even matter because they're picking you up and you married anyway. Here's the thing. So see, Lapman 62, and I feel that we don't let people come into our house unannounced, no matter how nice. And I feel what you're saying. But the minute that they step on this ground in this United States of America, they are protected by the 5th and the 14th Amendment. And at the end of the day, there is an immigration reform issue. There is no reform. It takes too long for people to get what they need to have done, and that is to become legal American citizens. I have a friend, it took her 20 years. 20 years. 20. I don't know about that. Then if that's the case, everybody's lost. Lapman said, I think the solution is to fix their country because our country is lost. Honey, there's so many different ways to talk about it. But I just want to make sure that we have as much information as we possibly can. Texas life, baby. The block is hot, baby. Let me go ahead and block you. We can have a decent conversation, but the block is hot. The block is hot. Go on ahead with that, miss. Like I said, if you wanna have this conversation about what you feel about it, feel free to go and turn your live on. What we're having here is a conversation that is necessary at this point. And we need to understand that, number one, everybody that is being picked up is not given due process. They're just being picked up because specific agents or bounty hunters, as this man himself said, they're being paid $1,000 to $1,500 per person that they pick up. So they don't care who they're picking up. They're just rounding them up. And they're going into communities and they're rounding up more people. Nobody is getting due process. Nobody is. And I don't know how any one of you all feel about that, but you know that if it was somebody that you loved, and it very well may be, you know right from wrong. You know what the laws are, you know what the Constitution says. If you do not, then honey, you need to go ahead and look it up because it's available to each one of us. Period. You already know what it is. But if we don't know, everybody's not a criminal, though, Lap Man 62. And I understand how you feel, but not everybody's a criminal that comes across this field of the US of A. Hey, Deals with Nia, how are you? Not everyone criminal. We need to stop that fallacy. And we won't even do that. We just keep right on. Yes, honey, the night shift is here. We are going over what happened. We're going over what happened. So everybody's a criminal, C5 Ash. Let me go on ahead and the block is hot. I don't mind tonight because I ain't got it in me to give a darn. Not tonight, baby. Okay, thank you. All right. And they're targeting specific communities. Due process is not applied in most cases. Yeah, thanks, Coach Bella. Correct. And we're not having conversations, Subu. We're not. Exactly. But he had due process. He was probably even Mirandized. Let's talk about that. And so the issue is that since we know that not everybody is a criminal, they just rounding up whoever they want to because the man said that they're getting paid to bring them in. They don't care who it is. They do not care. And then once they get them, they have already said that they're going to be building out more of the facilities like the one in the Florida Everglades. With your tax dollars, with my tax dollars. How you feel about that? And you already heard what the man said. You already heard what Trump said. He said that they already have a great relationship with the farmers and so forth. We'll just come back to them and the owners will be responsible for them. I'm sorry, what? So we okay with that too? We have to be okay with that, right? Because clearly we are. Yep. That's exactly what it is, Brittany. It's slavery all day, and you can call it what you want. Can you stop? You should be able to file exempt, but I think you can do it for like 6 months. It won't get it. It won't get rid of your Medicare. Oh, it won't get rid of that. But yeah, you absolutely can. I know I've done it. I went right to the HR department and was like, exempt. So I could keep more of my money in my pocket. Because right now, guess what? We're not being represented and we keep paying taxes. No taxation without representation. Sure sounds good right about now, don't it? All right. Now, we've talked about what happened in Los Angeles. Okay. And I really believe that we needed to definitely cover this because they're not done. I mean, we definitely could chocolate one. Why it wouldn't hurt. Hey, Doris Les, how are you? Because that's where we're at right now. Because think about it. Think about where your tax dollars are going. Your tax dollars are going to fund what just happened in MacArthur Park. And if we think that that's the last place that they're going to stop, it won't be. Yes, they have, Coach. They have increased the funding for the ICE task force. Wasn't it like $17 billion or something like that? Okay. But did he win? No, Lap Man. Right? So that's kind of where we are with that situation. Okay. I just definitely wanted to kind of cover that with y'all before we start talking about what is going on in Texas right now. In Kerrville. I do know that there is more rain that is headed their way. I know it's going to be headed here in Georgia pretty soon. And I definitely wanted to cover what's happening in their news today, as well as talk about Carnival. Y'all, I am in Georgia. I am in Atlanta. Yeah. Hey, Deborah Lindo, how are you? Welcome, welcome. So let's talk about what's happening right now with Carnival. Have y'all heard? let's get into it. Carnival Cruise Line has made a decision. I know if you haven't heard about it, good. Carnival said, no more boots on the ground. They sick of y'all. That's what they said. All right. And this literally, I'm gonna actually go over to, because I used to be a travel agent, so they sent us some stuff, and I didn't kind of pay attention to it. I probably should have. I get these periodicals that get mailed to me every week, and I used to work too, so I'm really surprising backlash over recent onboard safety guidelines that some online critics have argued disproportionately impact